Hello Sun Exchangers, old and new. Abe here with a very special SUNEX video diary update. Rather than give you an insight of what's coming up in the world of Sun Exchange, to wrap up 2019, we thought it would be a good idea to give you a snapshot and a summary of all the success and coverage that the Sun Exchange community has received over the past 12 months, as well as give you some insight into the world of solar over the last year in a global context. So let's take a look. As tradition would have it, we started the year in January, where two major solar projects went live, which was the Sacred Heart project up in Johannesburg and the project powering Neuroplastics down in Cape Town. Those were the two biggest solar projects that Sun Exchange had ever done. And later in Jan, a major business report highlighted the massive potential for commercial and industrial scale solar to address the bottleneck in finance across the African continent, which is of course what Sun Exchange is all about. Into February, Sun Exchange hosted an investor showcase where we invited members of our community and the general public to an event in Stellenbosch where we showed the insights into the Sun Exchange business and gave a hint into a campaign to allow anybody to own part of Sun Exchange later on in the year. Sun Exchange was also named Fast Company's most innovative company in Africa, and myself, Abe Cambridge, was named an African Power Elite by the top African energy industry publication ESI Africa. Into March, Sun Exchange was named among the top 100 energy transition startups of the past 3 years by the German Energy Agency. I think that's really good insight into the real potential that we're untapping in the world of solar by merging it with financial technology. Sun Exchange really started to ramp things up as we went into April with our newly launched project at Protea Heights Academy, the first in a long series of projects with the Western Cape Education Department. That project sold out in 7 hours, and immediately afterwards we launched a project for Wynberg Boys High School, which sold out in just 3 hours, an absolute record, and congratulations to all of you who managed to get solar cells in those projects. Coincidentally, in the month of April, despite all this new solar energy we're putting onto the South African grid, the South African national utility Eskom suffered massive blackouts as they continue to experience a deficit in the amount of energy they can produce, really highlighting that what Sun Exchange is delivering is really of pressing national need. Speaking of national need, into the month of May, the newly elected South African President Cyril Ramaphosa announced tariff increases on carbon, essentially making it much more expensive for businesses to use fossil-fueled energy. And in combination of which, the limit to the size of the solar projects allowed to be built in South Africa was increased to 10 megawatts, drastically increasing the amount of impact our solar projects can have, both from an environmental and techno-economical level. And to make sure Sun Exchange is prepared for this upcoming explosion in the solar industry in Africa, we announced a big team expansion with job openings being announced both in our software development and sales teams. Halfway through the year, Sun Exchange launched our project for the Velvedine Retirement Resort here in Cape Town, which was the first solar project to address the issue of providing affordable care to the elderly. A massive milestone was also crossed in June, where the millionth watt of solar cells was purchased by a Sun Exchange member somewhere in the world. That meant Sun Exchange now had 1 megawatt of solar capacity installed into South Africa. Into the month of July, Sun Exchange launched our first project with the Spar supermarket group at Spar Hoedspruit. This was the first supermarket to go solar through Sun Exchange, and that supermarket is now enjoying lower cost energy, increasing job security, lowering the cost of goods to consumers, and above all, saving carbon. So congratulations to everybody who are now solar powering that supermarket. Also in July, the solar project at Protea Heights Academy went live, which we did a retrospective interviewing Wendy Horn, the principal of that school, and heard her thoughts on the benefits they've now enjoyed as a result of going solar. Also in July, over in China, The Chinese National Energy Administration approved nearly 4,000 utility-scale solar projects. That was a total of nearly 23 gigawatts of solar capacity announced in 1 month. That really just shows the solar revolution is not just taking place here in South Africa, it's a global phenomenon for the whole world to benefit from. The month of August in South Africa is Women's Month, and to commemorate it, we launched 2 solar projects, one for Wynberg Girls Junior School and one for Wynberg Girls High School, both of which sold out on a brand new look website. 3/4 of the way through the year, in the month of September, SUNEX launched our Uprise.Africa campaign. This was an equity crowdfunding campaign to allow the general public and our community to purchase shares in the business and join us as a partner on our mission to solar power Africa and other emerging markets. Later in September, SUNEX went up to the TEDx event in Johannesburg, where we gave a presentation on the green transition of Africa using our financial technology. And later on in the month, we went over to Abu Dhabi, presenting at the 24th World Energy Congress on how SUNEX can bring affordable energy access to all. The month of September was against a backdrop of global climate action, where protests hit the streets in frustration of international government inaction against climate change. One important aspect of SUNEX is that for anybody feeling powerless or frustrated against climate inaction, you have now the power to do so. Simply by buying solar panels through this platform, you can directly offset your carbon emissions. A single solar cell purchased through the SUNEX offsets hundreds of kilograms of CO2. That's 8 times as much carbon dioxide offset as the same solar panel would if it was installed in Europe. Global news outlet CNN did a cover story on SUNEX in the month of October, highlighting whether you live in gloomy London or icy Montreal, you can now own a solar panel installed here in sunny South Africa, and from which you can earn an income for 20 years. Towards the end of October, we closed the initial phase of our Uprise.Africa campaign, where we had raised 3 million rand through selling shares to our community, so we decided to extend that campaign for another month. Into the month of November, SUNEX announced a new partnership with Invictus Capital. Invictus are based here in Cape Town, and they have agreed to purchase up to 30% of all solar cells at the end of each solar project crowd sale. This just ensures that all our crowd sales can close on time, but also enables us to do bigger projects. The end of November, we saw the close of our Uprise.Africa campaign, and we also welcomed our 10,000th SUNEX member to our community, where those members are now located in 145 countries around the world. This truly is a global community. Welcome to all. And to wrap up 2019, in the month of December, SUNEX featured on Kaiser Report, and we also launched 2 solar projects, the third with the Spa Group in Belfast, and our first project with CPOA, a retirement home chain here in South Africa. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was 2019. So as we look forward to 2020, you can look forward to plenty more solar projects, but also massive improvements to the SUNEX dashboard. Coming soon, you're going to be seeing 3 major additions to your SUNEX experience. Number 1 is an earnings calculator to help you predict how much money you're earning from your solar panels. A currency conversion tool so you can compare your Bitcoin earnings to US dollar or euro, for example. And finally, we're going to be giving you much more data into the energy your solar panels are actually producing. We realize this is data that's somewhat lacking, but it really is quite complex to integrate into one dashboard, but it is happening. Our software team are working as hard as they possibly can, and you're going to see the fruits of that labor in 2020. So have a very good festive season, everybody, and I'll see you next year.